think they will. That's how I normally do.
All right, y'all. Hey, how y'all doing? I do have a special guest. She is actually a client, well, a customer, not a client. She's been a long-term customer, and she's actually here to pick up product. So I asked her, like, would you like to let them know about the products and things of that sort? So before we move in, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Christina. I'm the CEO, the founder of Phlox Divinity, and also this is
Diamond, y'all. I'm the happiest customer of Phlox Divinity.
Thank you so much. So the first thing I wanted to get on here and talk to you guys about is the Juicy Pops. A lot of ladies, like, they keep DMing me and saying, like, hey, how do you use the Juicy Pops? I want to know how to use them and things of that sort. So as I've stated in multiple reviews and things of that sort, with the Juicy Pops, they are suppository. So you just, the bottle tells you to insert 1 to 2 at a time and use 4 in a monthly period. As for myself, like I said, I use them whenever I want to use them because it increases your libido. It helps you, stop pain when you're having intercourse and things like that. And it also gets you juicy wet. So those are the things that I like about the Juicy Pops. I also use the tight kitty gel, which also increases, your sexual desire and things of that sort. So if you guys are interested in those type of things, then you'll definitely want to pair these two together. So let me give you an example of how you would actually use it. So first, you will go ahead and, make sure you clean yourself. Use some type of mouthwash. If you have Phlox wash or foam, then you'll use that. Then you'll go ahead and insert 1 to 2 of these, and you'll use a panty liner. I don't think I have my panty liners with me, but you can always go like to Target and get some type of organic panty liners and things of that sort. And then wait for like 1 or 2 days if you want to have oral. If you do not want to have oral, then you can just go ahead and have sex. Being that I like oral sex, I'll wait 1 to 2 days, and then once nothing's on my panty liner, then I'll use half of the tight kitty gel. I did demonstrate in a prior video, and I'm not going to open this one because I already took the other one home, and I'm going to definitely finish using it. Side effects. Basically, your man gonna have your ass by a chain around your neck, or your woman. So those are the only side effects to it. Increased sexual desires, definitely those are the side effects for these products. They're all herbal, they're all natural, so there is no side effects to the point where it's not going to do good with your body. I just suggest that you guys take it at a very minimum and then increase as you proceed to go on. Thank you so much, Miss Heaven. So, Miss Diamond, she'll let you know how she has used products and her experience with the products.
Okay, I have had my fair share with every product pretty much throughout Phlox. I've used the tightening kitty gel. It has made me like super tight down there, to the point where I have to like give in a little bit and like hold on, slow down, cause your girl be like a glove. I've also used the wash.
Yes, Ashley.
The wash is my absolute favorite. It keeps me, smelling ladylike down there. It keep you lubricated as well. It's all organic, and then on top of that, it just increases like your secureness down there, because you're not sweating, you're not moist down there. It's just clean cut, you don't have any problems with it. And then after your period, using it as a wash too is a very good thing, because whenever you have your period, of course you are expelling waste and getting rid of that like bodily expel and bacteria, and it's a very good wash. I actually love it. I had my girlfriend using it, and I have a lot of my friends using the wash. I've used the what is it, the
Juicy Pops?
The pedal, yeah, the Juicy Pops. I've used those, and my first time using them, I was a little scared because I'm like, hold on, like I hope they work. I was skeptical, I ain't gonna lie, but when I used them, I actually, like, I ain't gonna lie, I squirted, and it surprised the hell out of me because I was like...
You know, the crazy part about this, my husband told me I was squirting last night. And I was like, what the fuck is you talking about?
Yes, it made me squirt. Like, it makes you wet. I'm not even gonna lie. It makes you wet. But it surprised the hell out of me because it made me squirt. And I didn't even feel it. And then when I started to notice, I started squirting like 2 or 3 times. I was like, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. So now I got 2 bottles of them, and I have to keep them, you know, on lockdown because it's to a point where my girlfriend be like, babe, when you gonna use your pops? When you gonna use your juicy pops? Can I have one? And then, you know, we alternate. But for me personally, I've only used 2 in a month. That's all I need. I use one, like, you know, after my period because I don't like having them, you know, before my period. I prefer after my period. That's when I like to be intimate. But I'm getting no complaints, girl. I be wetter than a water slide.
So I know, like, you've been using the detox pearls,
right?
And you actually use them more than me. Mm-hmm. So how is the experience when you use your juicy pops? I mean, not the juicy pops, but the detox pearls, right, from the beginning up until now.
At first, when I first used my very first detox pearl, I'm not gonna lie, like, I watched a lot of YouTube videos because I seen a lot of women was like, oh, you know, this, I expelled that, and I was like, well, you know, I don't got fibroids, I don't got endometriosis, so I don't think that's gonna work for me. Ain't no thing gonna come out. So initially, my first try was just me being out of curiosity, and then when I purchased the product and I actually end up using it, you know, I was like, okay, my first day wasn't nothing coming out. So I was like, this, you know, like, this is overhyped. And then I waited, like, I put my first one in, and then I took it out. Then I gave it, like, 2 or 3 days. And then I ended up putting my second pearl in. And then when I put my second pearl in, I waited, I think I gave it a day instead. Because I was like, you know, I'm tired of playing around. Yeah, like, and when I actually ended up using it, and I had, like, my first expel, it was, like, some old blood, and it was, like, yeast. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this shit came out of me? Like, it made me, like, shocked. I'm like, damn.
And that's when I was telling you, like, hey, cut down on the sugar and stuff like that.
You have to tell me to slow down on the sugars and things like that. And I think people forget whatever you put into your body is what you get out of your body.
Definitely.
And drinking all that soda, eating all the fruit snacks and baby cakes, they gonna add up on you. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that you do cleanse your body because I think people forget that, you know what I'm saying, your body is, you know, it's still a temple. So you got to treat it as such. You got to clean it out. You got to drink water. You got to eat healthy. You got to eat vegetables. And when I first used it and I started to notice, I'm like, okay, maybe this is my first go around. Like, let me see the second time. And then I noticed, like, oh shit, like, it's more. So the next month after I did it again, I was like, you know what, after that I'm gonna give it a couple months. But after I started using it more frequently, I don't use it like every month back to back. I'll give myself time, like, I'll do it this month and then I'll wait like 3 months later and then I'll clean my body out. And I just do that because, you know, I want to make sure at the end of the day, because I want to keep my pH balance healthy. I want to be healthy. And then I'm with a woman, you know, at the end of the day, we both are, our anatomy is the same.
Exactly.
So I had to even put her on it, and then she was like, what is that? And I'm like, hold on, babe, try. And when I had her try, she was like, what the hell is this coming out of me? And I'm like, that's yeast. Like, it's okay, it's your body. Like, and that's what I like about Phlox Divinity, because I can call, I can text, I can say, hey girl, this is going on with my body. Hey girl, I think I got a yeast infection. She like, what do you need? Come get you some Phlox pills, come get you some wash, drink you some water, eat you some vegetables. And I'm just like, I trust her, because at the end of the day, even if I went to a doctor, they tried to give me antibiotics and it still gave me yeast infection. Like, still. And I was just like,
I think I remember that incident.
Yeah, like, it still gave me a yeast infection. And then I thought, like, I had a UTI at first. So I'm like, I think I got a UTI. Like, I'm going to the bathroom back to back. And I'm like, something's not right.
Yeah, then, when you first used the Juicy Pops, you said, hey, am I supposed to go to the restroom? And I'm like, well, it depends if you have so many toxins in your body.
Right. And then when I realized that, I was like, yeah, at this point, I just really need to stick with these, like, you know, herbs that do my body right. And then I started to notice a change in, like, my sex drive. Like, my sex drive usually was kind of low. Like, I'm always, like, sluggish and a little bit lazy. But after I started drinking water and I started putting my little Juicy Pops in, girl, I was ready to have sex. Like, my libido was through the roof. I'm like,
right,
baby, you say you was gonna do what to me when you get home? Like,
okay.
Like, my libido was through the roof. And then I noticed I was wetter and I was wanting to have more sex. I was very, like, intimate. And I was open to having a conversation about trying new things with sex, too. Because you know, those products, they work so damn well. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
It's like,
dead.
I want to go to the next
yeah,
level.
like, let's try something different. So,
Yeah.
like, that was very fun too. Like, trying, like, it opened up your sex life. And then it's fun because my partner's also a girl. So, you know, I have her try those products, and it's like, okay, well, I think they work.
Yeah.
So let me try them on you, and they actually work.
And if they work for you and they work for her, then you definitely know, like, it's a good thing.
Yeah, they work. And then I actually even put my mom onto the product. And you know, like, your mom is always the type of person where she's like, I'm not trying that. Like, I'm going to put me some apple cider vinegar and some alum in my water, and I'm going to be tight, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And I'm like, okay, ain't no problem with that.
And they don't realize that part, like with apple cider vinegar, it's a whole bunch of acid. So you never really want to put so much acid inside your vagina, because then it tears up your walls and stuff like that. Versus the herbal, you know, solution in the way of natural living, that you always want to try to at least get something that's alkaline versus a bunch of acid, which is nothing wrong with that, because that's the way that our parents grew up in. We didn't know that, you know, like, hey, there are certain things that we should use in order to keep ourselves healthy down there, because when we go to the OBGYN, we don't want them to say, oh, there's nothing we could do for you, because, quote unquote, they're not taught the way that, you know,
and I think a lot of the times what kind of upsets me with going to the doctor is because they don't do research with those things. And then, like, you'll see, like, a whole bunch of doctors like, oh, you shouldn't be putting anything in there, your body's is natural remedy, it's going to clean itself out. And it's like, you forget that my body can only do so much.
Exactly.
Like, my body can only do so much. And even when you put the detox pearl in, like, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't even feel like it's in there. It's like this size. And then when you're taking those medications, you don't even know what's in there. You know, at least on the bottle it tells you, hey, you got this, and they are herbs. And then when you do end up using them, and you know, you notice the increase in your body, you're like, hold on, girl, like, this shit working too good. Hold on, let me call her and order me some more shit. And it's like, to a point where I had to realize, like, I was like, hey, you know, the detox pearls, you know, like, I'm crying my eyes out to the OBGYN, and I'm like, hey, I'm constantly having these yeast infections. I'm cleaning myself 3 times a day. Like, I take a shower 3 times a day, so I know it ain't me. Like, I'm having sex with a woman. I know I'm not, like, having, like, being nutted in or anything by man. So it's like, I don't understand why I'm having these problems. And I'm like, I'm eating healthy, I'm changing my diet, and they like, hey, just keep taking antibiotics, keep taking antibiotics, keep taking antibiotics. And it's like, the more antibiotics that I took, I started to notice I'm not the problem. Y'all keep giving me this shit that is the problem. And then y'all not even telling me what's in it. You just telling me that it's antibiotics. And then when I started to kind of do my own research with my own body, and I'm like, I'm healing my damn self. Like, your body. And then people don't understand, like, the price of, like, Phlox Divinity products. They're like, oh, well, I'll do when she has a sale. Or, oh, it's too high. Like, girl, your health is never too high. Never too damn.
You have to always have a budget. And let's touch bases on the antibiotics. Like, people don't understand that with antibiotics itself, it really, really tears up your gut.
Right, so, and it stripped your body of the natural moisture. Like, that's something that people don't realize too.
Yeah, and through the process, because it's a chemical compound. So through the process of putting the antibiotic in your stomach, then the acid goes down, and then it starts breaking everything down, and then it somehow knows, all right, get rid of all the bacteria. But then now you have an upset stomach. Now you probably barely fucking eating. Then you catching a UTI, and then now you have to rebuild your stomach. And ladies don't know, it takes about 4 to 6 months to rebuild the good health in your stomach. So when it comes to gut, and it comes to your vagina, and it comes to your actual womb, all that antibiotics has torn your stuff away. So when it comes to that part, it's almost like, well, you know, now I got to go through the whole slow period of healing myself back up. But then what happens when you don't know?
And that's what I experienced. I didn't know anything because I'm young. They're like, hey, she's 23, she has insurance, let me just give her some antibiotics. And then sometimes people don't, like, think about how they just come in and they don't assess you. They just say, hey, you have feel on your stomach, okay, yeah, you probably got a yeast infection. Let me check you. Yeah, it's a yeast infection. And it's probably not even fucking a yeast infection. Like, it's probably not even that. They just give you antibiotics for something that they telling you that they think it is. And you taking that medication and you don't know. So you just, you know, blindsided taking advice of somebody who is a health professional, but they're not doing the work either. Yeah, you went to school for a long time, but you don't know my body like I know my body. I'm just telling you the symptoms of my body. You like, so it's just to a point where people have to kind of get more in depth with themselves, more in tune in themselves. And I just started to learn that, like, when I started using Phlox products, I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm a woman now. It's time to figure it out on my own. My mama did her job. She raised me to, you know, clean myself well. So, and I was to a point where I got to kind of learn how to heal myself. And when I started learning that and being with another female, you start learning, like, you know, we're going to have our periods together. Like, it's just period point blank. You know, you're going to have a yeast infection sometimes. I'm probably going to have a yeast infection sometimes. It is what it is. But now we know how to prevent it. If you feel just a little bit, just a little yellow, a little white, a little too thick, like, it's not you. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're just going to have to work on it. And it's to a point where now, like, I trust the product so much that I even recommend it to people that I know. Like, somebody be like, hey, like, girl, like, I'm having you, like, me and my friends, we are open. So if she like, you know, I'm having sex with this dude, like, you know, he nutted me on occasion, I'm like, hey, girl, was you using your Phlox wash? And, you know what I'm saying, some Phlox petals every now and then again. I'm just saying, like, 3 to 5 days won't hurt you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, even with males, like, even with my husband, he uses the King Shafar, and that's only because, like, men can have yeast infections too.
Right, and that's what I did not know until now I know.
And when they do have yeast infections, they can pass it on to the woman. And 9 times out of 10, if it doesn't turn to a yeast infection, it turns to BV. So then it's almost like, well, BV isn't a sexually transmitted disease, but it is a bacterial overgrowth. So
and with BV, that is the experience that I had to fight on my own too, because I ended up learning that at one point I did get an overgrowth of bacteria, and I did end up getting BV, and I thought it was a UTI, and then they're like, no, it's not a UTI, it's a yeast infection. I took antibiotics for a little minute until, you know, I've learned about the Phlox products, and then I was like, okay, something's not working. I kept going to the doctor. I kept spending my money and paying my copay.
Same as me.
And it was no result. And then I learned, I'm like, okay, well, it's not sexually transmitted. Like, it's a yeast infection, whatever the case may be. And then I slowly learned that maybe it's not a yeast infection. So I had to go to, like, an obstetricianist, gynecologist, and not just a gynecologist. And then when I went, it was like, hey, it's BV. And I'm like, what the fuck is BV? I don't know what the fuck a bacterial vaginosis is. I ain't never heard of that. I don't even sleep with a man, so how the fuck I get that? But
it's just an overgrowth of bacteria, and needless to say, you don't have to sleep with a man. You don't have to sleep with a woman. You don't have to have sex with period.
Yeah, that's what I had to learn.
You can, you know, just be out exercising and things of that sort, and then just overgrowth of, you know, pretty much sweat, or what you're eating, what you're drinking, sugar overgrowth, and things like that. So it's always good to, you know, sleep with no panties on. It's always good to air your vagina out.
And that's what I had to learn, because I used to go to sleep every night with these super tight ass cotton panties on and silk panties on, and
we don't realize we're sweating down there.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm doing this shit to myself, like, at this point, because and it's like your mama like, hey, you know, you got this man walking around your house, like, you need to put on some clothes. So I'm putting on the tightest shit possible, trying to make sure, you know what I'm saying, I ain't getting took at night. But in your own space, you forget that. So I think it's very important that, you know what I'm saying, we start to, like, you know what I'm saying, part of self-love is self-care. And at the end of the day, I feel like the products do cater to a woman, like, intimately and spiritually, because at the end of the day, like, your womb is a very, very powerful thing, and it's a safe haven, and you got to be careful who you share that with. You got to be careful, like, you know, who dealings with you run into. And then sex, oh my gosh, sex, when you have sex with people, you catch their energy. It's almost like your souls intertwined, and you don't even notice that some of the things that you do are a part of that person, your mind, your mentality, and things of that sort. So it's very, very important to watch who you even surround yourself with, because it's almost like, if I sit next to you, my energy jumps onto you, and I might not even be mentally in the right spot, and then you start to change, and you like, where the fuck this come from? And I think another thing is, you know, like, deep at the bottom of, like, you know, your vagina, your cervix, whenever they hitting that, whatever they say goes. Like,
exactly.
Whatever they say goes. Like, you know, hey, baby, you say you want to drive my car. You can drive my brand new Mercedes if you want to see your partners. Don't even worry about it. And it's like, that is another thing. That's why I feel like whenever you use the products, you do have to take your sex back. You gotta know what the fuck you got in front of you, because whenever you use those juicy pops, that shit have you wetter than a motherfucking ocean. I can say that for myself. That shit had me squirting 2 to 3 times, and we were in the middle of sex, and I'm like, hold on, we get some water, give me an hour, I'm gonna get back to it, and And another thing is, like, whenever you use those like detox pearls and things of that sort, to me, I do take, like, I do steam, I do give myself those candles, and I give myself not even wine. I just say, hey, I'm gonna drink some water, some water in a wine glass,
very good.
And I just, you know what I'm saying, I just chill out, and I give myself that time to be mentally and intimately in tune with myself. And whenever I use those products, I feel like that does everything for me. And then sometimes whenever I have those like light cramps, whenever I'm using those little pearls sometimes, because it's pulling all of those toxins out of your body. And at that time, I'm like, you know what, let me use my womb tea. And it's like every product has a use for it.
You know, that fucking womb tea, like, my daughter had a bunch of like cramps.
Yes, I have heavy cramps on my period, like, and they don't even know like what the hell is wrong with me. They diagnosed me with like severe like periods or some shit like that. I don't even know what the fuck it's called. And ever since I've been using a product, like, my period, yes, it's 7 days. I can't fight that. Sometimes it's 10. But for the most part, like, my body has changed, and I noticed a change. Like, that's why I'm like constantly purchasing my products. If I'm low on stock, I'm coming back. Because it's like,
they really work.
They work. And it's like, I can't believe people will sit up here and say, hey, the doctor say you're not supposed to do that. Hey, the doctor say. It's a lot of shit the doctor say you're not supposed to do. And you still fucking do it. So it's like, give yourself that opportunity to learn more about yourself, get in tune with yourself, and purchase products that are going to help you in the long run. Because, you know.
And it's more of like, you know, research your own self.
Right.
You know, get to know what people are trying to put into you, because 1 million people can sell 1 million products, and it could be aligned as the same products, but once it's like going to a grocery store and you got 10 different oils right here, and they all say organic, but then when you switch around the back of it and you look at those ingredients, it's like, this ain't what you said. Right. Really
and
was.
Then you know what's so crazy is, literally, it's so much controversy on the internet. I feel like a lot of women go to the internet whenever it comes to something that they so proud of.
Instead of a book.
Right. Instead of them doing the research themselves, or instead of reading a book, they always go to the internet. Hey, internet, I'm having these problems. What can I do? You going to Walmart to go buy some UTI products that you seen on the internet, that you heard or you read on YouTube that somebody else has used. And I was guilty of that myself. And that's why I was like, okay, let me watch a YouTube video on these products. And so then when I finally come to like learn, like, okay, yeah, like, I'm doing this shit on my own, it make you feel good, because you know, like, sexually, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna be in tune with yourself, your partner, your libido gonna be through the roof, you're gonna be wet, it's gonna be nasty, it's gonna be freaky.
Exactly.
And then, you know, when you get and then the wash is my absolute favorite. If anybody
I love it too.
What's my favorite product? It's the pops, and it's the wash. The wash is my favorite product. It's the every fucking day product. Like, I use it when I'm on my period, when I'm off my period, before my period, after my, it don't matter. Like,
so have you found yourself having to use the wash in the morning and at night, or can you just use it in the morning?
I mean,
or either.
To me, I'm the type of person where I have like this little clean ordeal. So like, I want to be clean. Like, I take, if I'm like, I work from home.
Okay.
But I'm going to take a bath in the morning. It's going to get me up. I'm going to use my wash. I'm going to take a bath in the middle of the day on my shower, like on my lunch break, to give myself some time to, like, you know, relax and rejuvenate. And then I'm going to take a bath at nighttime. But sometimes if I decide not to take a bath, you know, during the middle of the day, like 3 times a day, because that's just like a mental, like, issue that I have on my own. Like, I always take showers. But for me, I think you only have to use the wash once. Like, my girlfriend, she actually works like driving trucks and stuff like that, like the little long big trucks or whatever. Yeah. So she takes a bath like in the morning, and she uses it, and like when she comes home, she's good.
And that's what I found out too. Like, at first I used to use it, you know, in the morning and night, but then I realized, like, I only have to use it once a day, because it actually does what it's supposed to do, rather than, you know, using a bar of soap and then you still got this little odor down there. But when I use it, you know, it's either in the morning and night, and I don't really have an odor.
Right. I even with the soap, like, I've never experienced the odor. Like, I've been on my period. You know how they say like, oh, it smells like iron and like pennies and all that other stuff. I've never had that issue. When I use the soap, like going somewhere, I can go jogging, sweating, blah blah blah. I will not sweat down there. And then another thing is like the eucalyptus one, like it smells so sweet. That's my favorite one. It smells so sweet. Like whenever you use it, it's like naturally that smell. Even when you like go pee and stuff, you know, like have that little smell, and it's like it still smells like
because
that.
You don't smell, you know, normal if you hadn't used anything. Period.
Right.
You would normally smell the smell of the urine, but with that you don't really smell anything.
And then that's another thing, because a lot of people will sit up there and say that they prefer Vagisil, like in Summer's Eve and stuff like that. And I'm
I used to itch. I'm sorry.
Like I cannot use that.
Itch.
I cannot use that. It makes me feel so dry. Like it just strip your vagina of all. Because
if you look at the back, I think I did a comparison of the back. It doesn't have oils and the correct herbs in there. Right. It has a bunch of like acid and a bunch of chemicals that's mixed together.
I think that's what dry you out. That's why people think, oh, like I use this because it keeps me like dry. It don't have me like moist or sweating. But they don't understand is that shit dries you out.
Exactly.
Like it dries you the fuck out. I cannot use that. And like I think for me, people have to be careful when they purchase their products from, because I know people have been like telling me they've been purchasing detox pearls and stuff like that off Amazon, and that scares the hell out of me, like steams and stuff off Amazon and stuff.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I know on my old page I used to always, you know, show y'all the difference between real and fake ones. Mm-hmm. So I'll probably go back and, you know,
I think that's important, because a lot of people like purchasing off Amazon, they've been saying they've been purchasing the steams and they've been coming with like little bugs in the steams. Yes, like let me show you. And then they said that they were purchasing like what else? They said that they were purchasing like the detox pearls, and it was like experiencing the little burns and stuff.
Because they're not real.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And then I think people that tell you to put 3 pearls in at one time.
That's why I've never done it. See, with me, I've never done it, because every time I bring out a product, I've always tried it myself.
Right.
So I feel like your vagina is your more, like, it's the most sensitive part of your body.
Right.
So if I know that I'm buying the highest quality thing to provide to you guys, I'm definitely going to try it first. And I know that if one pearl allows me to, you know, purge and things of that sort, I'm definitely not going to tell my customers, you know, to go ahead and, you know, put like 3 detox pearls inside of you, when I know that cleansing and detox is a whole process. You can't just, it's almost like fixing on the car. If you want to do an oil change, you can't just put the oil on top of the old oil and think, you know, it's going to be worth it.
On Amazon, people are getting the products and they saying that they're full of bugs. That's some scary shit.
Alright, so I'm going to show y'all this. Can they see it?
Yeah, just turn
this. Oh, wait. So I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but like Amazon is selling things that have bugs inside of it. So I didn't know it myself. So y'all beware, even if you don't purchase from Phlox Divinity, just beware of the things that you purchase and, you know, the stuff that you're putting inside of your vagina, because you never want to go ahead and reverse a problem. So basically what I mean by reversing a problem is you already got a problem, but then you're adding more onto the problem. So do a little bit of research and then figure out what's going on with you. I definitely want to thank you for doing this live with me. And she, like I said, she's a previous client. She's not, you know, somebody that just walked in here. I found somebody off the street. She's purchased multiple times. I've even pulled up to her house and, you know, brought her products. So I definitely do want to thank her. I am an honest person, so I did give her incentives for doing this live for me. And if you guys are previous clients and live in Houston, then I like to do more of one-on-ones just to see you guys experiencing things of that sort. So thank you guys for tuning in, and then I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Oh, that was a pretty good one.